Bryce Young is going into his second season, and his first game is going to be against Dennis Allen and the New Orleans Saints. Now, last year, when the Carolina Panthers played the Saints twice, Bryce Young struggled in both matchups. This year, though, I think Bryce Young is going to absolutely torch Dennis Allen's defense. First of all, New Orleans pass rush is not good. I mean, you got Cam Jordan, who's coming off a 2-sack season. That was the worst year of his NFL career. You got Chase Young, who you signed in free agency. Chase Young is hit or miss. You don't know what you're going to get out of this dude from a play-to-play basis. Sometimes he'll end up being dominant when it comes to winning his one-on-one matchups, and other times he'll either get beat with his one-on-one matchup, he'll get bullied around, or he'll just do his own thing and not follow what the play was telling him to do. And with New Orleans pass rush not being that consistent, or at least dependable, Carolina's offensive line was really bad last year. But it wasn't because they didn't have a good offensive line entirely. I mean, their offensive tackles were pretty good during the previous season at 2022. I don't know what the hell happened under Frank Wright that made this offensive line regress, but with them improving at offensive guard, you got Nkem Ekwonu at left tackle, you got Taylor Morton at right tackle. Both of those dudes should be in for bounce-back seasons, and they should be really good in this game against New Orleans since they're not really going up against any high-level edge rushers. And I really believe that over the last 2 years, New Orleans' defensive line has gotten worse, which is going to give Bryce Young a good amount of time to throw the football. And Carolina has weapons now for you Saints fans who haven't been paying attention to Carolina during this offseason. I know, like, they were terrible last year. There wasn't really a lot of reason to focus on what they were doing during this offseason, but they got Deontay Johnson, who's one of the better route runners in the game. You also got Xavier Legette, who was their first-round pick in this past year's draft out of South Carolina. This dude is built like a damn monster, and he's from the country. So, you know, with these country people, you know, they say people from the country are just country strong. So if you give Xavier Legette like a jet sweep or a bubble screen, he could take it to the house. I mean, this dude has some wheels on him, and he's definitely not somebody that I would want to be trying to tackle if I was a defensive back and I saw him in the open field. And New Orleans secondary is getting a little bit up there in age. You know, Marshall Lattimore is kind of starting to get a little bit old. Tyrann Mathieu is like, you're still playing? It's like, who even knew that Tyrann Mathieu was playing on the Saints last year? It's like, I remember they signed him, but when I was watching the Saints last year, I was like, damn, like, they really got the Honey Badger still playing? I thought this dude retired a year ago or something like that. So I do think that New Orleans defense is going to get exposed by Bryce Young in this game with the new weapons that he's going to have. The offensive line should improve. And what made Bryce Young the #1 overall pick coming out of Bama was his ability to process defenses. He throws the football really accurate inside of the numbers. And Dave Canales is the definition of what it means to be a quarterback whisperer. I mean, every quarterback that he's worked with over the last 2 years has resurrected their careers. I mean, when he was with Geno Smith in Seattle in 2022, you know, Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year. The year after that, last year, Baker Mayfield ends up resurrecting his career. So when you have the kind of track record that Dave Canales has, I think it is a little bit foolish to overlook that. Yeah, he's never been a head coach before. This is his first ever game being a head coach. You don't know how good he's going to be when it comes to managing the clock and other areas that you look at when it comes to being a head coach in this league. But with how good he is at working with quarterbacks, if you can resurrect Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith, you should be able to do the same thing with Bryce Young. All of the talent that made Bryce Young a #1 pick is still there. And although the Panthers organization has a lunatic as their owner, I mean, let's not make it seem like the New Orleans Saints have been this well-ran team in their front office, because, I mean, their last couple of drafts have not been that good. Their free agency moves haven't really been that good neither. I really love for Bryce Young to make an example out of the New Orleans Saints. And this is going to be the first game that we see the true arrival of King Bryce. You Saints fans don't know about King Bryce, but Panthers fans know what's up with King Bryce. You didn't get to see the King come out last year because the Carolina Panthers didn't give the King the protection he needed to leave the palace. You know, they didn't play Bryce Young a lot in the preseason, but when he did get a little bit of preseason action, I mean, this dude was balling out. I love Bryce Young to probably throw 2-3 touchdowns in this game, probably throw for 256 yards and lead Carolina to a week 1 victory against their in-division rival, because I don't see the Saints being that good this year. Their defense has gotten worse over the last 2 years. When you lost Liam Nelson, that was a big blow because he was the main reason why your pass rush was so productive over the last couple of years. So that was another reason why the New Orleans Saints defense kind of took a step back. And I think that they take another further step back this year. And we see it week 1 when Bryce Young just absolutely torches Dennis Allen's secondary. I think you're going to see a quarterback this year under Dave Canales that's going to be better at getting the ball out faster. He's going to get into rhythm. And once he gets in the rhythm, that's when Bryce Young is really at his best. Once you get him comfortable, that's when Bryce Young starts slinging the football all over the field. It's like he's not known for throwing a lot of deep bombs downfield, but once you can get him in rhythm with the quick, short passing game, that's when you can start opening things up to take some shots downfield. So I love for Bryce Young to have a great coming out party, and you Saints fans are about to see the arrival of King Bryce.